Today we are going to see about an engineering thermodynamics basic concepts. In the further lectures we are going to see about a lecture series of engineering thermodynamics, but in this lecture 1 we are going to see about what are all the basic concepts behind in your engineering thermodynamics. Before I get into an engineering thermodynamics, first we need to know about what is meant by thermodynamics. A thermodynamics is a Greek word. Okay, so it is a Greek word. That is the thermo means defined as it is heat. Then the dynamics means it is a motion under the action of force. Okay, so these both together, that is both together to combine a coined a word is called as a thermodynamics in Greek. Then it is defined as a branch of science which deals with heat or work, that is energy interactions will happening together in a detailed manner to study about a basic science is called as your thermodynamics, that is related to the physical properties of your substance. This is called as your thermodynamics. So in this it is interesting to know that it is in the thermodynamics we are going to study about a various basic principles behind heat and work. So wherever a heat comes in any application, it works on a thermodynamic law. Wherever we can obtain work or wherever we are giving work to any system, then it comes under a thermodynamic, any of one of the thermodynamic law. It follows the principle behind the thermodynamics. For example, if you consider a petrol engine or diesel engine, consider a bike or car or jet engine or aeroplane, in all the engines heat is used and we taken up work. So in this, all these principles are working on based on your thermodynamic principles. Then you come for a refrigerator and your air conditioner, then about your heating device, that heater, then what are all the process, boiler, in industrial heating, many types of different types of applications. Wherever a word heat and wherever the work, wherever the temperature, it comes with any one of the thermodynamic law behind in this. So in this lecture series we are going to see about what is thermodynamics and what are all the basic principles behind it. So next one we are going to see about, this is a basic definition. You know that what is meant by law of conservation of energy. Okay, so this equation is this is very important, because energy can be neither be created nor be destroyed. It can be transferred from one form into another form. Okay, so that is, we cannot create any type of a new energy. Okay, an existing energy can be converted into another form of energy. So for example, we say heat can be converted into electricity, heat can be converted into electrical energy, or heat can be converted into work energy. The type of energy can be converted into one form into another form. We cannot create a new type of energy. So this is called as your law of conservation of energy. So in this example we are giving electricity. Okay, so this electricity will produce light, but it liberates heat energy. So electricity, that is electrical energy, is converted into heat energy here. So this is your law, that is energy can be neither be created nor be destroyed. It can be transformed from one form into another form. So this equation is called as, this definition is called as law of conservation of energy. So this is a very basic equation behind this. And wherever we are going to apply a thermodynamic principles, already I said that in internal combustion engines, that nothing but the internal combustion engines is nothing but a spark ignition engine and compression ignition engine, that is your diesel engine and petrol engine. Next one is your gas turbine. Okay, then third one is your air conditioning. So in air conditioning, all your houses we are having an air conditioning unit and refrigerator. These two, it is interesting. We are going to study about this air conditioning and refrigeration principles behind in that. Then about your jet propulsions, and it is also the basic principles behind in your compressors. Then your chemical process plants. How a thermodynamic will includes in your chemical process plants. So in chemistry we have studied about different equations. We have studied about reactant, product, catalyst. So if you add a catalyst, at what temperature you are going to add a catalyst, and the reaction will be takes place at what temperature, and what are all the process behind in it. So in every term a thermodynamic property behind in it. So we have to study about that. Next one is we are going for thermodynamic approach. We are having two types of approach. First one is a microscopic approach and second one is your macroscopic approach. This microscopic approach is otherwise called as a statistical thermodynamics. A microscopic approach is otherwise called as your statistical thermodynamics. So it is composed of a myriads of molecules. That is, we are going to study about the microscopic level. If you take a gases or atom at each point, if you take a certain gas, that gas molecules consist of each atoms. Okay, we have to going for study about each atoms and each molecules. That point by point we are going to study about in your microscopic or statistical thermodynamics. That is, the behavior of the gas is described by summing up the behavior of your each molecules, how the each molecules behaves. That we are going to study about in your microscopic thermodynamics. And your second one is your macroscopic analysis, that is macroscopic or classical thermodynamics. So this is a combination of matter, that is the total matter we are going to study about is known as your macroscopic property. In simple, a microscopic level analysis is done in your statistical thermodynamics and overall study will be managed by your classical thermodynamics. This classical thermodynamics is concerned with the effects of action of many molecules. It consists of many molecules. So this is your basic two approaches behind in your thermodynamics. That is, first one is microscopic and second one is your macroscopic approach. So in your thermodynamic approach, you are going to study about only microscopic approach. You are going to detailedly study about if you take an atom, what is the temperature behind it, at what temperature it will boost up your ions, then what pressure it going to what pressure, and it occupies how many volume, that are pressure, volume, temperature. At each point we are going to study. So in this thermodynamic we are going to follow a microscopic or statistical thermodynamics. Next one we are going to find it out a system, that is thermodynamic system. What is meant by a thermodynamic system and what are the basic terms in your thermodynamic systems. So consider a whole, consider this example. Consider this example. So it consists of universe. Okay, so it consists of your universe. So universe is a system and its surroundings together comprise is known as a universe. That is a whole world. That is, for example, a whole world is called as your universe. Then the system is a quantity of matter or a region in a space upon which the attention is concentrated in the analysis of the problem. So if you are going to consider this area alone, so this is called as your system. So in this system a process is going to carry it out. So this area is called as your system. Then this everything surrounded by your system is called as your surroundings. Okay, so next one, a layer which separates, an imaginary line which separates a system and the surrounding is called as your boundary. That is called as your system. This is system boundary. Okay, so this is your boundary. An imaginary line is called as your system boundary, and beyond that boundary is called as your universe. Okay, so here you can see easily. So that is, this is a system and this line is called as your boundary and this is called as surroundings, and this surrounding is present in your entire universe. Okay, for example, here you consider a beaker consisting of your water. Okay, so this beaker is placed in, consider a beaker is placed in a room. Okay, so this room is your surrounding. Okay, then this boundary is your the beaker, then the beaker outer line is called as your boundary. Then in this system containing of how much amount of water, here we are going to take place any chemical reaction or anything. Okay, so this is your system. So this system consists of this boundary and it is placed in a room. So this room is called as your surrounding. Then this room is placed in your entire universe. Okay, this room is placed in your entire universe. So that is called as your universe. So in the previous slide we studied about what is meant by thermodynamic approach, and in this we are going studied about thermodynamic system. Next one we are going to study about thermodynamic classifications. Okay, system, how the systems are classified, thermodynamic systems are classified. So majorly the thermodynamic systems are classified based on mass and volume. Okay, that is first one is control mass system and second one is control volume system. Okay, so in this control mass system is again classified into closed system, isolated system and open system. Okay, so one by one we are going to study about what is meant by closed system and what is isolated system and what is open system. Okay, that is a system, majorly the system is classified into three types: open system, closed system and system. First one is what is meant by a closed system. Okay, so in a closed system there is no mass transfer across the system boundary and it is also consists of your fixed mass. Then there may be an energy transfer into or out of the system. A certain quantity of fluid of the cylinder bounded by the piston constitutes a closed system. This is a great example for your closed system. So see this diagram, you all know what is meant by system and what is boundary and what is surrounding. Okay, so consider in the system energy is in, okay, and energy is out, but there is a fixed mass. Okay, so here there is a fixed mass, there is no mass transfer. Okay, that is either a fixed mass only available in this type of closed system. So consider a cylinder, this is a cylinder consists of a gas, a cylinder consists of a gas. If the piston is loaded by some weights, okay, so if you add one more kg, what will happen? This piston will goes down, the gases will compress. Okay, then if you add one more kg, then again this piston will goes down, then it will compress, but this volume of the gas, that is this mass of the gas, does not vary. Okay, so there is no mass transfer in the system, but this energy is transferred here because this piston work done is here, that is his piston moves from here to here, there is an energy transfer. Okay, there may be an energy transfer in or out of the system. So this system is called as your, the next one is your open system. So in open system, the matter crosses the boundary of the system. Okay, so it will crosses the boundary, that is the energy in will be leaving to the energy out and mass in will be going out of your mass out. There is a mass transfer across the system boundary and also there may be an energy transfer into or out of the system. The great example is an air compressor. Okay, for an open system it is an air compressor with your great example. The next one is your closed isolated system. So the term isolated, you know that the term isolated means it is isolated from your surroundings. Okay, the system is isolated from the surroundings, that is this is system and this is boundary and this is isolated from the surroundings. So here there is no any type of transfer will occur, there is no mass transfer or no energy transfer. So it is one in which there is no interaction between the system and surrounding. It is of fixed mass and energy, there is no mass and energy transfer across the system boundary. And also there is no heat, work and mass transfer takes place. For example, it is an entire universe. You consider an entire universe. So in the entire universe there is no masses entering and no masses going out of the universe. Okay, then similar way to your energy. So these are all the three systems. So first one we have studied about closed system. In a closed system only energy will be transferred, there is no mass transfer takes place, and in the open system both mass and energy transfer can take place. In an isolated system there is no mass or energy transfer occurs. So next one we are going to study about control volume and control surface. What is meant by control volume? So control volume is an imaginary region within which the interactions are studied. Okay, so this is called as your control volume. Consider this as an air compressor is connected with your motor. So where we are going to study about which component and what is that volume we are going to carry out your process. So this volume is called as your control volume. Then this boundary, the boundary of this control volume is called as your control surface. So this volume is called as control volume where the process is going to taken out. So this is called as a control volume. The boundary of the control volume is called as your control surface. So for example, so in an air compressor, an attention is focused on the certain volume. So in this volume, the air is going to compressed here. Okay, so this space is called as your control volume, and this space is bounded by one surface is called as your control surface. So next one we are going to study about what are all the thermodynamic properties. So thermodynamic property is any characteristics of a substance which is used to identify the state of the system, and that can be measured when the system remains in its equilibrium state. So first one we are going to study about what is meant by state. Okay, all the properties of the system which has definite values, then the system is said to be a definite state. Okay, so consider a graph is drawn between, so in your x-axis we are having volume and your y-axis we are having pressure. So P represents pressure and V represents volume. So consider this line, this is a process from A to B. So consider only one line. If you consider a state, so in a XY graph, if you plot one point here, it will have some meaning, no? So here we are having, for example, this volume is of 5. Okay, so this is of 5 and this is of 4. Okay, so here it is of 4 plus 4 and plus 5. So this point is called as initial state. So this is your state. It moves to second point. So here we are having, it is reduced. So volume is reduced to, for example, 4.5. Here you are going for, it is increased 4 to 4.5. So 4.5 and here it is also 4.5. So consider this point, this is a volume is reduced up to 1. Here the pressure is increased up to 10. So each and every point is called as your state. So if you mention in a thermodynamic, if it is a state, it is each and every point is called as your state. That is, properties are the coordinates to describe the state of a system. Then this succession of states, okay, so this continuous state is called as, if you draw a point, if you plot a point of each point of the state, when you draw a continuous line through that state, then it is called as path. The succession of the state passed through during the change of state is called as path. The next one is process. Okay, when the path is completely specified, then the change of state is called, if the path is completely specified, so this is completely specified, then this change of state is called as process. This is whole process. It goes from 1 to 2 and it is also goes from 2 to 1. Next one, then cycle. This process is defined by a whole process is called a cycle. That is, thermodynamic cycle is defined as the series of states changes from that final state is identical with the initial state. It starts from here, and for example it starts from here and it goes on to 2. This is your initial state and it goes on to 2, and from the final state again it reaches to your initial state. So this is called as thermodynamic cycle. Okay, so in this, what is meant by state? A state is an coordinate. For example, a coordinate, we are going to define our x-axis and y-axis value, a certain point we are going to fix in that graph, that is called as state of a system. Then each state, a succession of the each state is called as your path. Then if the path is completely specified, you know at what way it is going to go, it is called as your, it is whether it is different types of lines we can draw from the process. It is completely to be specified is called as process. Then this process will be started from initial state to final state, and again it goes back to final states to initial state is called as, this whole process is called as thermodynamic cycle. Okay, so here you refer AB. Okay, so this AB is called as process. So this is called as process, and if it is 1 to 1, and this is called as your cycle. So next one we are going to study about the properties. What is a thermodynamic property? We have studied about some of the properties, what is meant by state and what is path and what is process and what is cycle. Then this thermodynamic property is classified into intensive property and extensive property. This intensive property is otherwise also called as intrinsic property, and extensive property is otherwise called as extrinsic property. So intensive property is nothing but independent of the mass of the system. So that is, it does not depend on the mass. For example, a pressure, okay, pressure, temperature, a specific volume, specific energy and density. Okay, so these are all does not depends on the mass of the system is called as your intensive property. So here in extensive property, it majorly depends on mass of the system. For example, volume and energy. Okay, so in the case of extensive property, if the mass is increased, the value of the extensive property is also increase. Rather, in case of extensive property, if mass is increased or mass is decreased, it cannot be considered in the change of your any of the system affected values. So intensive property is defined as it is independent of the mass of the system, and extensive property is defined as dependent on your mass of the system. So next one we are going to see about what is meant by systems and what are all the phases in your systems. That is, first one is your homogeneous system and second one is your heterogeneous system. Before entering into the homogeneous and heterogeneous system, we need to know about what is meant by phase. Okay, a quantity of the matter homogeneous throughout in the chemical composition and physical structure is called as a phase. Okay, so this is your important word. This is called as phase. That is, so in the chemical composition, what is the physical structure? What is the physical structure of any fluid behind is called as the phase. So every substance can exist one of the three phases, any one of these three phases. What are all the phases? This is all you already know in the basics. That is solid phase, liquid phase and gaseous phase. Okay, we are having three phase: solid phase, liquid phase and gaseous phase. Okay, so consider a system. A system consists of single phase. A system consists of single phase is called as homogeneous system. For example, a cup of coffee. What is a cup of coffee? Is a liquid stage. Okay, so a cup of coffee is filled with the liquid, so it is called as your liquid phase. Only liquid will present, so it is called as your, it consists of single phase, it is called as your homogeneous system. Okay, then a system consists of more than one phase is called as a heterogeneous system. Okay, so for example, so in the coffee I am putting some tablets. Okay, so that is non-dissolving tablets. Okay, non-dissolving tablets or non-dissolving sugar cubes I am putting. Okay, non-dissolving. Okay, if it dissolves, it becomes liquid stage. Okay, I am telling that a solid particle I am dropping into that coffee. Then we are having two types of phase. That is, one is solid phase and other one is liquid phase. Okay, it consists of more than one phase. Then the system is said to be a heterogeneous system. Okay. Next one, we are going to see about what is meant by equilibrium. Okay, so if the equilibrium of a system is defined as a system remains in its equilibrium state, it should not undergo any changes to its own accord. Okay, it does not go any changes. Okay, then this is a general definition for your equilibrium. So now we are going to study about what is meant by a thermodynamic equilibrium. So thermodynamic equilibrium is a system is in mechanical, thermal, majorly a mechanical, chemical and thermal equilibrium, then the system in thermodynamic equilibrium. Okay, in our other words, it can be a system is isolated from its surroundings. Okay, you know what is meant by surroundings. Okay, a system is isolated from the surroundings. There will be no change in macroscopic property of the system is said to be and exist in the state of a thermodynamic equilibrium. Okay, if you want to understand we need to know about these all types of thermodynamic equilibrium. Okay, when a system is in thermodynamic equilibrium, it should satisfy the following equilibrium conditions. If a system will follow these all types of equilibrium, then the system is said to be a thermodynamic equilibrium. First one, what is meant by mechanical equilibrium? If the forces are balanced between the system and the surroundings are called as mechanical equilibrium. Okay, that is in the mechanical equilibrium, the forces are balanced. There is no unbalanced forces in the system is called as mechanical equilibrium. In case of your thermal equilibrium, the temperature difference between the system and the surrounding is zero. That is, no temperature difference will occur. It is called as your thermal equilibrium. In a chemical equilibrium, there is no chemical reaction takes place between the system. Okay, then if it is a nuclear equilibrium, a system is said to be a nuclear equilibrium when the nuclear reactions such as fission and fusion reactions do not cause any change. If it is a magnetic equilibrium, the magnetization and demagnetization effects do not change its property, then the system is said to be a magnetic equilibrium. Combined together, if these equilibrium conditions are occur for any system, then the system is a thermodynamic equilibrium. Then we are going to see about what is meant by a quasi-static process. A quasi-static process is a process. It is a very infinitesimally slow process. Okay, with a continuous series of equilibrium states. A quasi-static process is that succession of equilibrium states, and also it is a reversible process. Okay, so for example, you consider a cylinder which consists of gas and your piston. Okay, so here it is filled with gas, and this is your piston, and this is your weight. Okay, this is your initial state, this is your initial state, and this is your final state. This is your initial state of the piston, and this is your final state of the piston, and this is weight, and this is system, and this one is system boundary, and this one is surrounding, and the whole thing is called as your universe. Okay, I am going to draw this experiment in a PV graph, okay, along with your pressure and volume. So here it's your initial state. I am considering the initial state is 1. Okay, so initial state is 1. So if the initial state is 1, I am going to point a plot. Okay, what is the pressure and volume here? Here it is reversed, so don't relate these two. Okay, so then you consider this as initial state 1, and at the final state, this is your final state 2. Okay, when I am removing 1 by 1 weight, okay, when I am removing 1 by 1 weight, what will happen? When I am removing 1 by 1 weight, what will happen? This piston will moves upon from initial state to final state. Then it will goes on first state to second state, third state, fourth state. Okay, these states are connected by a path, and if the path are defined by a certain equilibrium state, then it is called as a process. Okay, so these infinitesimally small change in equilibrium states are called a quasi-static process. Okay, here we are having an infinitesimally very small continuous series of equilibrium states. So this is equilibrium state, and this is equilibrium, and this is equilibrium, and each will attain your equilibrium state along their process. So this is called as your quasi-static process. So next one we are going to study about what is a reversible and irreversible process. A reversible process is said to be reversible when it should trace the same path in the reverse direction when the path is reversed. It is possible only when the system passes through a continuous series of equilibrium state. So see this example. So here is also we are going to study about a variation between pressure and volume. Consider a process. So this is your process. So in this process, it is reversible. Okay, so it is from the process 1 to 2. It should trace the same path. Okay, so when the process is from 2 to 1, and it again goes back to 1 to 2. Okay, it should trace the same path is called as reversible process. When it does not pass through a continuous equilibrium of state, then the process is said to be reversible. Okay, it can goes from 2 to 1, and it will transfer along various paths. Okay, but it will reach the initial state, but it does not traces the same path is called as your irreversible process. The reversible process, it should trace the same path from the initial state to final state and final state to initial state. But in case of irreversible process, it can come from initial state to final state in a different way, but it goes from final state to initial state, but it does not goes there from the same process what it comes from your initial to final state. The next one is we are going to see about what is meant by path and point functions. Okay, so the quantities which are dependent on the process or path followed by a system is known as path functions. Okay, so this is a path, this is followed by a process. It is called as the path function. Okay, for example, heat transfer and work transfer. Okay, so this heat transfer and work transfer is said to be a path function. If it is a point function, the quantity which is independent of a process or path followed by a system is known as a point function. For example, if you measure this point pressure in this PV diagram, I mark this coordinate point. Here I mark one point. So this point the pressure, and this point the volume. So this point is called as the point function, and along this point function are joined by a path. Then this path is called as a path function. Okay, so the path function is dependent on the process. Okay, so if the process depends, it is called as path function, and it is independent of process, it is called as point function. Example, for path function, heat and work transfer are path function examples, and for point function, pressure, volume and temperature are the point function. So next one we are going to see about some of the basic parameters. Okay, what is meant by pressure? Okay, we all know that a pressure is the ratio of force per unit area. So pressure is defined as force per unit area. So this unit of pressure in the SI system is Pascal. Okay, then 1 Pascal is also called as 1 Newton per meter square. So the 1 Pascal, which is equal to 1 Newton per meter square. So the unit conversion we are going to see about, that is what is meant by 1 bar. Okay, so if it is say 1 bar, it is 10 to the power 5 of Pascal or 10 to the power 5 of Newton per meter square. So this 10 to the power of 5 of Pascal or 10 to the power of Newton per meter square can be written off in terms of kilo. Okay, so K is nothing but kilo and M is nothing but mega. So K means 10 to the power of 3 and M is mega, it is 10 to the power of 6. So 10 to the power of 5 Pascal can be written as 100 kilopascal or 100 kilonewton per meter square, which is equal to 0.1 megapascal or 0.1 mega Newton per meter square. Okay. Then in a standard atmospheric pressure, 1 atmosphere is equal to 101.325 kilopascal or 101.325 kilonewton per meter square, because this Pascal, 1 Pascal equal to Newton per meter square, which is equal to 1.01325 bar. Then absolute pressure is equal to gauge pressure plus atmospheric pressure. Okay, if you measure and gauge pressure, okay, the pressure measured above the atmospheric pressure is called as the gauge pressure, and the pressure exerted by the air of the column of the 760 mm of mercury is called as your atmospheric pressure. The next terms are volume. Okay, what is meant by volume? A space occupied by the substance is called as the volume. So the unit of the volume in the SI system is meter cube. Then specific volume. So if it is a specific, you should have to denote the letter volume means capital V, and if it is a specific volume means small v. Okay, so if it is a specific volume, if it's a any term it is specific, it is per kg is you have to consider. Okay, so it is defined as the volume per unit mass. Okay, this is volume, so it is defined as the volume per unit mass. Okay, if it is a specific means per unit mass you have to add, that is unit of specific volume in the SI system is meter cube per kg. The density, all know density, so density is mass per unit volume of the substance, that is mass per unit volume of the substance, that is the ratio of mass by volume. Density is equal to mass by volume. The unit of the density in the SI system is kilogram per meter cube. So in other words, the specific volume, so okay, so the specific volume and density relation, this specific volume can be written as 1 by density, because you see this, here it is meter cube per kg, here it is kilogram per meter cube. So we can write the specific volume is 1 by rho. So specific volume small v is equal to 1 by rho. So next term we are going to study about what is meant by energy. Okay, so the energy of the system is the ability or the capacity to do work. Okay, so energy can be defined as it is a capacity to do work. So the unit of the energy is joule. Then we are going to see about what is meant by transit energy. The energy possessed by the system which is capable of crossing its boundaries is called as the transit energy. That is, a heat energy can transfer from its boundary. Okay, that energy is called as the transit energy. Then internal energy, the energy possessed by the substance due to its molecular arrangement and its motion of its molecules is called as the internal energy. That is, a term internal energy refers the amount of energy inbuilt in your molecular level arrangement is called as the internal energy. It does not cross the boundary of the system. Okay, then that energy is called as the internal energy. Okay, so if it is an energy, all the units are joule. Okay, then what is meant by power? A rate of energy transfer. Okay, rate, that is rate means per second. Okay, energy transfer per second is called as your power. That is rate of energy transfer is called as power. Then it is unit is watt. Okay, so 1 watt can be written as joule per second. Okay, if it is joule per second, if it is energy it is joule, and it is power it is watt. Watt can be written as joule per second. So next one we are going to study about what is meant by a first law, that is first preliminary law, not first law. A preliminary law of thermodynamics is a zeroth law of thermodynamics. So the zeroth law of thermodynamics states that when the two systems are separately in thermal equilibrium with the third system, then adjacent cells are in the thermal equilibrium with each other. For example, you consider this example. If A and B are thermal equilibrium, okay, you know that what is mean by a thermal equilibrium. If it is say it is thermal equilibrium, it should satisfy the condition of mechanical equilibrium, chemical equilibrium, thermal equilibrium, then magnetic equilibrium, then nuclear equilibrium. So you consider you have to carry out all this equilibrium condition, then it is said to be a thermodynamic equilibrium. If two systems, that is consider A as one system, B as one system, and C as another system. If A and B are in thermal equilibrium and A and C are in thermal equilibrium separately, okay, then they themselves, B and C, are also in the thermal equilibrium. Okay, so this is the basic law in your zeroth law of thermodynamics. So again I am telling that is, if A and B are in thermal equilibrium and A and C are in thermal equilibrium separately, then they themselves, B and C, are automatically in your thermodynamic equilibrium condition. Okay, so this is your zeroth law of thermodynamics. Then before entering into the first law of thermodynamics, we need to know about important terms. What is meant by temperature and what is heat? So this is a major difference. This is a major definitions we need to know. What is meant by temperature and what is heat? So heat is not a temperature. Okay, so if it is a temperature, it is defined as a degree of hotness or coldness of a body. Okay, so for example, if a doctor measures a body temperature, okay, if the doctor measures a body temperature, not body heat, okay, if it measures only body temperature, so it is a temperature is defined as degree of hotness or coldness of a body. So unit is degree Celsius or Kelvin. Okay, so if it is heat is an energy crossing the boundary due to the temperature difference. Okay, due to the temperature difference, energy can be transferred from one place to another place. That is, it transferred from system to the surrounding or surrounding to the system. Okay, then it is said to be a heat. A heat is a transfer of thermal energy between the system. Then work is also a transfer of energy between the two systems. Then work transfer. Okay, here we are going to study about what is the work transfer and what is heat transfer and what are the sign conversions we are going to use in this basic concepts. That is, if you say work transfer, the work is transferred from our system to the surrounding. That is, you consider this example. In a system, work is given out of the system, that is work done by the system. Okay, so the work is done by the system, so it is to be considered positive work. So if you are giving some work to the system, okay, if you are giving some work to the system to do this process, then it will be taken to be as negative. Okay, if the system is, if you are giving work, it is negative, we are taking out work, it is called as a positive work. For example, you consider an engine, you consider a diesel engine. So in the diesel engine, we are going to run a vehicle, we are going to take out the work from the engine. Okay, so it is positive. So if we are giving some work in a compressor, we are giving some work. Okay, so in a compressor we are giving some work to the system to compress the air, so it is negative. The next one is heat transfer. So in a similar way, when the heat is flowing into the system, it is taken to be positive, and when the heat is flow out of the system, it is taken to be a negative. Okay, so this work transfer and heat transfer are inversely proportional. Okay, if the work done is taken out from the system, it is to be positive. If the heat is taken out from the system, it is to be a negative. Here, the work is given to the system, it is to be negative. Here, the heat is supplied to the system, it is positive. So these two are vice versa. You remember only one and you can write other heat transfer. So next one, we are going to see about a first law of thermodynamics. So what is meant by a first law? A first law of thermodynamics states that in a cyclic process, okay, so in a cyclic process, the net heat transfer, which is equal to the net work transfer. Okay, so here these two equations are the first law of thermodynamic equation. So in a cyclic integral, okay, in a cyclic process, okay, so in a cyclic process, the net work transfer, which is equal to the net heat transfer, that is net heat transfer. The next one is for a process. So this is for considering a whole cycle. So if you consider for a process, you know what is meant by process. Okay, so for a process, internal energy which is equal to heat added to the system, the difference between heat added to the system and work done by the system is called as your change in internal energy. Okay, then for a process you should have to write Q is equal to W plus del U, that is delta Q which is equal to delta U plus W. Okay, for a heat transfer, when the heat is supplied to the system, heat is positive. When the heat is lost, it is negative. When it is positive, for this is the internal energy, so internal energy, if it is increase, positive means increase in internal energy. If delta U is minus, it is decrease in internal energy. In the same way, if the work is given to the system, it is negative, and work is taken away from the system is called as positive. Okay, so in the first law of thermodynamics only we need to remember for two equations. So first one is, in a cyclic integral process, dW equal to dQ, net work transfer equal to net heat transfer. For in case of process, you have to remember Q is equal to W plus delta U, or Q is equal to delta U plus W, where Q is your heat, delta U is your internal energy, and W is your work transfer. Okay, so at this junction I am going to end this a basic concepts lecture. Okay, so further we are going to see about in the next lecture. Thank you.